That's not it for this video because there's also the sideboard. So I'll show you some of the cards that I include in my sideboard. This combination is simply evil. I don't run it main deck because it, if I run it main deck, I'll frequently become the first target. I only include it against other sort of tier 1 competitive tuned decks, so Rafik, Azami, Aereo, Uriel. I won't use this combo in casual play because it's simply just not fun. This card, and you'll notice they're both enchantments that can be fetched directly into play by Zur. This card turns all mana produced by lands into black mana. So it locks down 4 out of 5 colors, and they can only get around it either through colorless destroy effects like Ulamog or All Is Dust, or by using mana artifacts. So it is a soft lock, but it's very powerful nonetheless, and for the mana it's great. But the cost of this is you need to sacrifice a creature each turn. That is compensated for by Bitter Blossom, which produces a creature each turn. So you'll sacrifice your 1/1 token every turn to pay for your contamination, and at the cost of 1 life every turn, you have a soft lock on your opponent. So that's sort of my big guns that I bring into play when necessary. Next sideboard card, Resounding Wave. This is an odd choice. It's in here for one reason and one reason alone. That is Teferi Knowledge Pool combo. You might be aware of this combo. It's an artifact and a creature. If they're both in play at the same time, they stop you from playing any of your spells. I won't describe exactly how the combo works. You just suffice it to say that if you look, Resounding Wave has a bounce effect, a double bounce effect when you cycle it. So when you pay 8 mana to cycle it, you draw a card, and you may return 2 target permanents to their owner's hands. And cycling doesn't count as playing a spell, so it gets around the combo. And also, it can't be countered except by Stifle or Trick Mind, so it's very difficult to stop. And it's a solution. So if I know someone's playing Teferi Knowledge Pool, I'll put this in my deck, and then I'll use one of my tutor effects to find it as soon as possible, just in case. Leeches, just in case someone is playing Infect. Shackles, this was in there just, this is, it's not really a sideboard card, just an alternative. I keep on taking out debating between Shackles and Prison Term. Prison Term, can't be saved from a board wipe. Prison Term you can switch from creature to creature, but it can't be saved from a board wipe. Shackles doesn't stop activated abilities the first time they're used, if they have a tap. See, because it says enchanted creature doesn't untap. So it means after they attack or use their tap activated ability for the first time, they can't use it again, but it doesn't stop them from using it at all. So in that sense, the effect is weaker, but it can be saved from a mass board wipe, unlike Prison. Sacred Ground, again, it's an enchantment which, because it only costs 2, can be found and put into play directly by Zur. It's very useful against Eldrazi. It allows you... Could you please stop? Thank you.
No, 46 minutes. I know, I understand.
So, this card is very useful against Eldrazi because it allows you to sacrifice your lands to the Annihilator effect and have them come directly back into play. Also, there's someone in our group who insists on playing mass land wipe. And so this is obviously a solution against him, and also even targeted land destruction. Against people who play green, which is quite prevalent in my meta, Perish is just a mass board wipe that only costs 3, and it nukes all green creatures, can't be regenerated. I also intend to find Acid Rain. I haven't found one yet. It's 4 mana, blue, destroy all forests. Planar Void against Recursion, obviously. Again, enchantment can be found directly by Zur. It's very useful against decks like Teneb, or Zhao Dun, or any green deck that runs Eternal Witness, which means any green deck. It's not quite as good as Leyline of the Void, because Leyline has a replacement effect, and this is a triggered ability. So things that go to the graveyard will still trigger with this, whereas they won't with Leyline. But on the other hand, Leyline costs 4, and so you can't find it directly with Zur. This you can find directly with Zur. Sunblast Angel, this was in there. You know, again, this is something I'm sort of experimenting with. It was another mass board wipe. I find it's not that useful because it's, you know, it destroys tapped creatures. But most people won't do an all-out swing, so they won't have all their creatures tapped at the same time. And if one person does do an all-out swing, then it means the other people are on the defensive, so they're not doing all-out swings. So you'll only really nuke maybe one other person or a few people, but not all their creatures. So, Planar Collapse. This was another card that I had in, you know, that I sort of take in and put out. It's a board wipe, and I had it in because it's basically the only board wipe that you can find with Zur, because it's a 2-mana enchantment. But it takes a turn to kick in, so I can find it's a bit slow, and I often don't want to waste one of my Zur activations finding this. It's had mixed success. So that's Sideboard.